first killer applications of blockchain.
You can have a white paper and a Bitcoin address, and people will say,
把这个准入门槛降低，让大家都能进来。
People would try to buy and invest in ICOs for the expectation of a high return. Can they get it? 割韭菜。
That makes me sad. This new promising technology is just being abused by greed.
We have a lot of work to do as an industry.
一般说到我名字的时候，你如果说徐子敬或者 Ryan， 好多人还是不知道是谁。就在中国社区里面的话，大家都知道有火星人这个名字。
为什么给自己起这么一个名字？
因为觉得我不属于地球啊，就觉得地球好像不应该是现在这个样子。
有一年好像是金融危机后面一年，澳币的波动能达到50%一年的 range。哇，
这个世界是很糟糕的。所以在基督教的神学里面有一个问题其实很难回答，就是如果上帝是全知全能的，他为什么创造出了这么一个糟糕的、痛苦的、充满了缺陷的世界？他是个变态吗？有一个人和我这么说，说你这么牛逼，为什么你没钱呢？就当时深深的刺痛我了。我想证明，就如果我想要钱是可以有的。钱是怎么产生的？怎么运转的？有一门非常冷门的学科叫奥地利经济学，就他提出了一种完全不同的架构，认为钱只是大家头脑的一种想象，为了让这个世界运行的更加有效率。08、09年的全球金融危机，然后各国政府都在拼命的印钞，全球的货币系统是有问题的。在没有比特币之前，我觉得我是一个赞成金本位的这么样一种思维。当我第一次看见它，并且做了一些研究之后，我觉得我已经变成它的一个 believer 了。
Ryan Xu, also known as the Martian in the Chinese community, was born after 1985. Just over 30, he has already realized financial freedom that most people yearn for. He is one of the earliest Bitcoin investors in China. At first, he drew attention as an activist on social media, sparing no effort in promoting Bitcoin and blockchain technology, and persistently participating and investing in the industry. He saw this as his mission. The path he took embodies the ups and downs, the highs and lows of the entire industry.
你开始做点什么？是宣传它，是去买卖它，是去挖矿，还是你做了点什么？
应该是这些事情都做过，所有人干过的愚蠢的事儿我都做过。
Keeping up with Bianca Chen, an experienced financial reporter, on this intriguing journey about blockchain, she has traveled around the world to unravel the mysteries of this remarkable decentralized technology. We will be exploring stories that not only tell us about technology and finance, but also the human interests behind these fearless scientists, financiers, entrepreneurs, educators, and other industry experts. In the 10 years' time since Bitcoin's arrival, the blockchain industry has already transformed from a single white paper to having its own ecosystem. The people in it all come from different backgrounds and from ties with crypto and blockchain for various reasons. Everyone has a different approach to finding a unique path in the blockchain world. So what kind of people are in it? What stories are they eager to tell? This is Next Blockchain.
您是哪年第一次听说比特币
？2011年，这个东西就是我曾经做梦梦到过的事物一样。我在了解到 Bitcoin 的1-2天之内，我就把自己所有的积蓄都投进去买了 Bitcoin， 平均成本当时大约是10美金左右吧，会有好几千个。
That's my desk. This is the main conference room. I was working at Walmart doing e-commerce in China. I first heard about Bitcoin through my brother, Charlie Lee. That was I think it was in early 2011, either earlier spring of 2011.
I was a software engineer at Google. I played around with some GPU miners. I bought some used GPUs and new ones. I had like 2 machines with like 8 GPUs in them. It was very noisy, very hot, and it was fun though.
We were doing the mining of Bitcoin in the summer of 2011. So he was doing it on his part in California. I was doing it over here in Shanghai, in my apartment.
那个时候，实际上我在做另外一家公司，是另外一个行业的，是做互联网广告、互联网营销。
I worked at Goldman Sachs for 11.5 years. I was a partner there. I had a phone call from a friend who asked me about it, and I went online and Googled Bitcoin. I bought it.
Yeah.
I bought a lot.
UNICEF as an organization works in 135 countries around the world and has more than 12,000 staff who are dedicated to solving problems for children. And these are problems of education, access to information and healthcare, and how people deal with the world after an emergency. So our first impression was that this could help UNICEF and help our team in the work that we do.
Walking into the blockchain ecosystem, we'll have to go back to where it all started, Bitcoin. In the early years of Bitcoin, a small group of people discovered its appeal. They've gradually given Bitcoin its value through mining and purchasing, and some of them weren't thinking beyond that. They were wondering, what could they do with Bitcoin or even the technology behind blockchain?
你是怎么拿到你第一桶金的？
最早期的应该还是挖出来的比特币的增值。
你最多的时候挖了多少笔？最早期的时候？
上万的比特币吧。
那时候炒币炒得成功吗？
我觉得不成功。我觉得在数字货币行业里面有一个是永远赚不到钱的，那就是炒币。我从来没看见一个人在数字货币行业靠炒币能赚到钱的。也许他现在短期是赚钱的，但是时间再拉长，一定是亏钱的。
你当时亏了多少钱？
我印象当时也亏的并不多，几百万人民币吧。就赚钱对我来说兴趣不大，但我很愿意去尝试那些没有做过的事情。就比如说怎么赚钱呢？
我大概是学金融的。12年的时候接触到挖矿，不得不提到有一个网站叫 glbse.com， 它就意思是说 Global Bitcoin Stock Exchange， Enterprise 就可以到这个网站上去发售自己的股票，融资融 Bitcoin。而当时那个网站上所有的这些企业呢，其实大部分都是做挖矿的。那么因为挖矿呢，它是一个这个现金流特别恒定的活动，它会每天都分红。那么其实你可以对未来的这现金流来进行预测。那么这非常像是一种债券了。这个对于学金融来讲，就觉得这应该是一个很有意思的一个市场。
The original version of Bitcoin called for CPU mining so that anybody could join in and do it. But as with any industry where there's money to be made, there's constant innovation. It moved on from CPUs to graphics processing units. A GPU is actually basically like a mini computer. It has its own processor, its own memory, and all being integrated onto one card, it can process much faster than a standard CPU.
GPU 的挖矿也盛行了一段时间，后来呢又有 FPGA。FPGA 呢和 GPU 呢其实是有一个 trade off， 就是 GPU 呢它是更便宜的能够获得算力，但是它的功耗非常的高。但 FPGA 呢你需要预先花很多钱去投资，但之后呢功耗呢较低，噪声也较低。那么 GPU 和 FPGA 并存的时代呢，但并不长，大概也就1年多时间啊。那么之后 ASIC 也就出现了。
The Bitcoin market now is dominated by ASICs. That's an application-specific integrated circuits. Basically, these processing chips are built to only do one thing. All it is made to do is process the algorithm for Bitcoin. So they are able to take hundreds of these chips and put them in one machine, and the speed is exponentially greater than any other method. The first company that created an ASIC for Bitcoin is Canon Creative. They make the Avalon series of miners. They produced the first, and it's snowballed from there.
2012年的时候呢，有一位创业者他的网名叫 Frat Cat 烤猫，那么他有在网上跟我交流，他提到实际上可以自己来做 ASIC 芯片来挖矿。那么其实经过简单的计算呢，这个应该是一个利润非常高的一个活动了。但当时他融的钱虽然非常少，但是也没有太多投资人支持他。那么应该是我和他一起，然后也经历了很多波折吧。最后也是通过 GLBS1.com 这种公开市场的这种融资，然后获得第一笔资金。到13年的时候呢，就也看到了整个行业竞争和它未来发展的这个动态变化趋势，就决定在13年的时候还是要自己来做 Bitmain 这间公司。当时我自己做了一个表格，大概统计了一下，应该全世界有25家的公司大概在做这个方向，或者说至少他们声称要做这个方向。但我们应该是在2013年11月份的时候，第一个把产品推向市场，而且我们扭转了整个市场一贯的模式。我们是卖现货，收到款我们立即发货，这个在行业当中应该在那个时候之前是没有过的。然后我们的产品的运行呢也非常的稳定。
这就是13年11月推出的那款。
对。
And Miner S1 就是第一批的。
当时的话，矿工是一个什么态度？出了这么一款产品以后，
当时很多人都对此表示质疑，感觉这好像又是一个骗子来了，是吧？然后呢，后来我们要进行一个这个 auction， 进行一个拍卖。当时一台机器大概2万多人民币吧，对，然后我们就拍卖成功之后呢，我们就迅速的发货。当然，过一段时间之后，他们就收到货了然后全球就炸开了。这家公司果然是真的，他们居然对，居然能够把机器真的发出来。
当时第一个这么一个型号的机器收到多少订单？
当时的产量非常小，觉得好像一天就只能够做10几20台一样
所以当时是能够满足市场的需求的。
对，我们应该是每6到9个月，当时就会迭代一代芯片。出第2代产品就是14年的夏天了，那么到了15年秋天的时候，10月份我们推出了我们 S7的那代矿机，那代矿机应该是奠定了我们在整个行业绝对的这个领先地位。
最早做挖矿是因为可能在当时这个行业并没有其他的商业模式，只有挖矿是赚钱的，其他所有人都是赔钱的。最早期都是兴趣，就大家凭着个人兴趣在做这样的事儿。但是自从有了矿机芯片公司，有了比较大规模的就矿工，所谓的大规模，当然可能也就是一个很小的房间，大家买了几10台机器，然后放在里面，这已经算大矿工了。但到14、15年的时候，就真正的进入了规模化的大规模工业化的挖矿的这个状态了。对，
所以也差不多是这个时候进场。
没错，我印象当中，我们当时应该是投资了1-2千万人民币，好像这个数字，我记得不是很清楚然后在国内的话，四川，那边有水电站嘛，然后我们总共投资了几千台机器，4-5千台机器。
当时算大的。
对，当时已经算比较大了，在全球的整个挖矿市场能占到10%到20%的这个比例。
当时每天能产出多少笔？
我印象当时每天应该能产生100-200个。
那是利润很高了。
当时应该是可以维持到6个月回本左右吧。
当时其实没有现在这个遍及的中国的这种矿场就我们在国内算是第一个大规模挖矿。
能有多少人，多少台机器？
人不多，就几个人，但是呢，那个矿场可能是好几千平米，到现在的话呢，都是几万平米了嘛，对吧？当时我们做的那个国内算最大的那个矿场是有几千平米，然后呢，在里面放的那种体积不算太大的那种矿机的话呢，大概放了几万台。它一天的产量的话呢，当时就好几百个币。
那就是印钞机呀。
对。
I created Litecoin in 2011.
Well, this is your last name's initial as well.
I was playing around with the Bitcoin source code and decided to kind of create my own coin. It was mostly for fun. The other reason is before Litecoin, there were about a dozen other coins. Let's see, there's a coin called Xcoin, there's a coin called Solidcoin, IOcoin. There were a few, but most of them were pre-mined. So the creators of the coin kind of wanted to get rich, so they mine a lot of coins for themselves before they release it. And then if their coin becomes popular, then the coins that they held would be worth more. So I created Litecoin to try to make a coin that's more fair. So I didn't pre-mine any for myself. I made the mining very fair and kind of released the source code before the binary, so people had a chance to kind of play around with the mining before the actual coin was released.
There we go. Yeah, Litecoin. So we will have a QR code.
QR code,
Okay.
0.088 Litecoin.
Yeah.
So pull up my mobile wallet. Litecoin would be cheaper, and it will cost less to use, so transaction fees will be lower. I see Bitcoin and Litecoin being used together, where Bitcoin would be used for purchases of larger amounts and Litecoin for smaller amounts. I never saw Litecoin as replacing Bitcoin, but I wanted to kind of help Bitcoin succeed. And I saw that as one of the kind of the bottlenecks of Bitcoin achieving mass adoption. And Coinbase was one of the few companies that was making Bitcoin easy to use. Bitcoin easy to buy Bitcoin, easy to spend it. So I wanted to help in that aspect. When I decided to join Coinbase, Bobby, he wanted to start a company in China to do Bitcoin exchange. And he actually wanted to hire me to go to China. But I decided to kind of stay in the US and focus on Coinbase, kind of do something separate from him.
I started buying some Bitcoins in early 2013 on a site called btcchina.com. So that was a site recommended by my brother. Said, hey, there's a website you can buy Bitcoins. And okay, let me go check it out. And so it turns out they had already started the website since 2011.
我在2011年的时候，听我的朋友黄孝宇，他当时在 QQ 上他签了一个名，他说，想玩 Bitcoin 的联系我啊。我就问他了，我说 Bitcoin 是什么？啊，他说是一种数字货币啊。然后那我说有什么可以做的吗？啊，他说可以，日本那边有一个交易所啊，不错，但是中国还没有。我说那好啊，那我们做一个交易所啊。我问他你可以做吗？啊，他说他可以，然后我们就用1个月的时间就把这个交易所给他做好了，然后就推出来了。我们在2011年6月9号上线了平台。其实当时的话，其实比特币的价格只有10几块人民币啊。然后那时候的话，我们那个其实平台上没有几个人的啊。2011年、12年，其实我们一直是这个就是说在亏损的状态的。其实刚开始我们也是没有看懂这个东西的啊，然后我们只是说，做一个交易平台啊，然后那个，就是我们赚一点钱就好了啊，其实也是很简单的想法啊，然后后面没想到这个发展出是这样一个情况吧哈啊。
I decided let me reach out to the people behind the website. So I sent an email to their email customer support, and then the person who replied was Huang Shaoyu. So he's the co-founder. We finally got to meet the other person, Yang Lingke. I think a Bitcoin exchange in China is a perfect launching point for us to do this. So that was in February of 2013, and we formed the group in April.
比特币2009年被创造出来以后，它其实一直是一个极客社区里的玩具。但是到了2013年啊，比特币从极客进入了专业人群。这个专业人群很多是互联网的从业人员、金融的从业人员。所以这是2013年比特币的信用真正可能从这个几十万级别扩大到几百万级别。所以这是一个非常重要的一个时间点。
2013年4月份那一个月的话，就因为央视连续报道啊，然后呢， 就开始有大量的用户进来啊，当时那个平台的交易量就开始就非常的活跃这样子啊，然后我们就开始有这个资本进来。
The birth of Bitcoin carries the ideal of and belief in equality and freedom. But its crazy growth at an early age reduced it to becoming something driven by greed and lust. Bitcoin's price hit $1,000 in 2014. Trading volume also increased by 50% compared with the previous year. But just at this moment, a winter came.
我还记得非常清楚，就是有一年就比特币跌到最低谷的时候，当时我们挖矿，即使挖矿都变成了根本就不赚钱。我开完矿机，每天挖的比特币都不够付电费，就当时大家真的是非常绝望。
人民币的8000跌到了那个2-3000这样的一个阶段，再到14年底15年初跌到了1000以下人民币。
当时想过停机，但是我们并没有这么做。虽然停机才是就正确的，就是不亏钱的选择。
14年的年底是最惨的，大家可以看那时候大量的矿工是关机，啊，像这个内蒙古的矿场基本上就全部都关了。
整个很多矿场哀鸿遍野，很多矿场不得不那个甩卖、关门啊、停产。
矿场关闭，第二个就是有一些相对老的这个型号，矿工他的机器也只有关闭或者卖给那些有这个极低的电力成本的人啊。再下就是矿机企业消失，那么当时看海外的很多矿机企业就消失了。
那我们当时的想法是，就现在整个比特币网络就剩这么一点点算力了，如果我们再关机的话，那可能比特币真的会死掉，因为没有矿工再替他打工了，就再也没有人为他提供安全的保护了。那我们当时的想法就是，我们如果作为他的信仰者，我们一定要坚持到最后一刻，我们要守护比特币网络到最后一刻。就我们总觉得这个能改变世界，但是最后发现这个行业能容纳的这个资金和人是这么的少。就当比特币一路从$1300跌到$150的时候，我觉得这个行业是当时是真正的信仰者和守望者是非常无奈的，甚至有点绝望。
我们的生意是非常波动性非常大的，坦率来讲就会受到非常严重的影响。
所以币价是你非常关心的事儿。
也关心也不关心，因为这个行业当中很多年了，就是这种10%、20%、好几十的这种周期性的这种波动，它是在我们的这个经验当中经常发生的事情。所以有的时候其实我们看新闻会觉得非常搞笑哈，就是看到说啊，今天美国股市发生大跌，然后整体下跌了3%，然后我们就觉得这个也叫大幅下跌嘛。在14年年底的时候，觉得整个公司实际上已经快破产了，供应商找上门来问我们要货款，然后我们就只好跟他们谈说要不要分6个月给你们货款，对吧？我们矿机已经卖不掉了，对吧？但是我们的矿机呢，我们会运到矿场，每天都在产生现金流。挖出来的钱我们可以还给你。
December of 2013, the PBOC cracked down with the five department notice about Bitcoin regulation in China, and then of course the slump in 2014, starting with the collapse of Mt. Gox and the no banking operations in China, and we had our competitors faking volume, so it was a very complex situation from 2014 to 2015.
每天固定的产出几千个比特币，但实际上的话呢，市场没有需求，就它没有真正的应用场景，或者那会儿的这应用场景还很小，那么所以使得那个市场上对它的需求量的话呢，远远不如它每天的这种供应量，所以它币价就在跌，天天跌。我们当时其实也经历了这样的一次非常惨痛的这个，因为我们其实投资了很大，但实际上的话呢，那个亏了，我们还得用自有资金去填，那么其实也是很痛苦那个阶段。在13年下半年到14年上半年的时候，其实出现了很多真正这个行业的第一批创业者，是这一批人兴冲冲的开始为了理想也好，还是为了挣钱也好进来。到14年下半年到15年寒冬期，这个 破产的、关门的这种团队啊、公司一大堆，啊，当时那会儿币圈我们其实圈里面比较活跃的很多老朋友，后来都黯然退场。
This crypto winter from 2013 to 2014 once caused the entire blockchain industry to fall into a trough. Many people who once found ideals in Bitcoin had to leave with despair. After this winter, the ones who stayed behind, however, slowly established the industry's ecosystem. Opportunities started to make themselves apparent, as well as challenges and difficulties.
这边就是一个 blockchain center， 没错，目前我们这个 blockchain center 在全球已经开了得有10几个了。
我们想做一个全世界第一家 IPO 上市的比特币公司，但实际上当时我们做 IPO 的时候还是太早，就监管机构和证交所还是认为这个商业模式风险太高了。
100 million USD per day。
这个过程持续了2-3年。
为什么会那么长时间？
因为递交，然后被打回来，再递交，再打回来，来来回回，可能数不清了吧。当时还有一点他们不认可，我记得非常清楚，就当时他们认为比特币的价格永远到不了800澳币，那是4000人民币。14年他们做出了这么样一个判断。
当时你是怎么熬过来的？14年那个时候欠款都，就是这个供货商的款也还不上了。
就运气好呗，行情恢复了。说整个业界其实你看到现在基本上都是做矿机，各个竞争对手他们做的形态呢就大体是如此，那么基本上都是我们的第一代矿机这个形态的这个延续。
During the crypto winter, the Butterfly Labs was prosecuted by the FTC. Fried Cat disappeared. Another industry giant, KNC Miner, went bankrupt. Only Bitmain kept releasing new miners successively. When the warmth returned, Bitmain's miners almost became the only option on the market at the time.
挖矿呢，它其实是一个高度竞争的这么一个产业，每个矿工呢都在希望得到最大的算力，在得到最大算力的时候呢，又希望自己的能耗消耗最低，这是一个军备竞赛的过程。越先进的这个制程呢，它就能够越好的去降低成本，降低功耗。其实，在2013年到2015年之间呢，整个行业呢，他们都在同时追求2件事情。第一件事情呢是做最先进工艺，第二件事情呢是对芯片进行全定制的这个设计。那么 Bitmain 它的整个我们的创业团队呢，其实一开始我们是不会做全定制设计的，因为 Full Custom Design 这种技术呢，它是集成电路最古老的技术。等到中国的集成电路业界开始做这个半导体设计的时候呢，是很少有人会做全定制设计的。那么我们整个团队呢，也经过了2年多的时间去整合有关的这个技术，去学习，然后去把它整合到我们的设计流程当中来，去真正的去获得这种技术。我们的功耗是最好的，我们的成本在当时又是绝对领先于对手的。那么到了15年秋天的时候，10月份，我们推出了我们 S7的那代矿机，那代矿机应该是奠定了我们在整个行业绝对的这个领先地位。
听说好像现在我看到有人写报道说，每10台挖矿机呢就有1台是来自于比特大陆的。
没有，有10台挖矿机，可能只有1台不是比特大陆的。
哦，对对对。为什么一直就没有竞争对手，或者说没有一个可以较量的这么一个人？
在集成电路的任何一个细分领域里面，我们发现多多少少都会出现这样的一个现象。因为这其实是一个规模效应非常明显的领域，就是当规模越大，我们就能够再投入更多的研发资源，我们就能够在每一个细节上面去做得比竞争对手更好。规模效应确实是在半导体领域里面非常突出的一个现象，这也是为什么我们看得到在半导体的很多细分领域，你去看几乎都是老大吃肉，老二喝汤，然后老三就不存在了。
In 2017, Bitmain's annual turnover reached approximately $2.5 billion, making it the second largest integrated circuit design company in mainland China. Meanwhile, in the second half of 2017, Bitmain also became one of the top 5 global customers of TSMC, the world's largest dedicated semiconductor foundry. Some people joke that, regarding the commercial contribution to the semiconductor industry, artificial intelligence speaks loudly, yet still is no match for Bitcoin.
In the technology business, for short periods of time, there can be one company that really takes a dominant role because they figure out a problem in a slightly more effective way than all of their competitors do. They got a small advantage in the race, but the compounding period of that small advantage, maybe it's a 2% advantage, but if you compound that, monthly, or if you compound that every couple of weeks, they outpace their competition very rapidly. And you can see it now in the hardware business now with Bitmain because they designed a 28 nanometer and then a 16 nanometer ASIC chip for Bitcoin mining that were a decent amount, but not a huge amount better in terms of power efficiency than their competitors. And because of that, slight advantage in their stride.
如果非要我说的话，成功的原因，我觉得可能是因为运气。在我们当时最早挖矿的时候，比特大陆并不大，就在行业可能并不是前3的这样的公司。就我们也并没有想到它能做得这么好。由于它的几个商业决策，我觉得是成功的，并且抓住了很重要的历史机遇。就第一个是烤猫公司的解体，然后比特大陆它从那边吸收了很多优秀的员工。还有一件事就是，当时整个行业的不景气，导致于真的掏钱买机器的人并不多。然后他们做了一个很好的选择，就是和那些水电站厂长们进行联合挖矿，就你出电我出机器，然后挖出来的币我们对半分。对，这使得就是他们在熊市当中活下来了，所以牛市当中爆发了。而同时一批很优秀的企业在熊市当中就没有就扛得过去，就他们都倒闭了。
更重要一个因素就是第三是我们中国大陆市场非常的庞大，我们有庞大的人口基数，这是一个概率的游戏啊。如果你乘以一个很小的一个比例，那我们这个矿工群体都很大，这第一。第二个，中国过去的几年的基建投资非常成功，所以我们有非常快捷的这个制造体系，我们有非常便宜的这个电力系统，就导致整个中国的矿工，你可以看到今天车油的算力已经超过整个全网算力的80%。所以说背靠这么一个市场，那必然会成功，中间一定会有一些企业跑出来。所以我们看就是比特大陆这个在矿机市场上它的份额是超过了50%以上。
去年的时候，比特大陆的营收就达到了25亿美元，已经利润可能和英伟达差不多了。是什么原因可以如此快速的增长？
首先我觉得还是要客观的认识到我们公司的成长呢，它是整个blockchain 这个行业成长的缘故啊。因为我们卖的是挖矿机嘛，那么如果说这个币价上涨，那么显然我们挖出来的币就越值钱，矿工呢就越愿意投入到挖矿的这种活动当中。因此这种行业本身呢，它其实对我们的这个驱动这种推动的这个作用应该是最大的。
那像英伟达这种，其实也在芯片行业也是一个巨头，它现在也在盯着这一块，你担心它的进入和竞争吗？
其实本身我倒不是很担心，因为在任何一个细分领域，集成电路它都是需要长时间的这种积累的。NVIDIA 它的体量很庞大，但是它即便进入到这个领域的话，它也需要同样的时间周期去积累有关的这个技术。但是在这期间的话，我们又进步了。那么而且这个领域的竞争优势呢又特别的这个明显那么同时呢，这在一个企业内部呢，它如果说分心去做一件和它主营业务无关的事情，这个其实也会动摇它公司的这个企业文化和方方面面，管理上的挑战也会随之而来所以我倒不是很担心这个问题。
Hey Charlie, I'm Bianca.
Hey.
Good to see you here.
哎啊，你好。
现在交易所啊，我好像听别人说，现在有7000家全球，各种各样的这个交易所，为什么会这么快出现了几千家的交易所？
这就是技术发展的先进性啊。那么我们看到你在2000年啊，互联网快速发展的时候，那么也是出现了这个不是几千家，是几十万家互联网，那时候叫 .com 公司啊 .com 公司，现在所有公司都是 .com 公司啊，对吧？那么这个 blockchain 作为这样一种技术，那么它开始被越来越多的人接受。我觉得当我们过10年以后，我们再去回头看现在的时代，我们会觉得现在其实是人类很伟大的这个时代。那么这全球几千个从业人员，他们用自己的智慧啊，用自己的这个青春，甚至还冒着各种各样的风险，让这个产业得到了快速发展。
Like mining, crypto exchange is also one of the earliest industries in blockchain. In addition to facing the same turbulent waves of price fluctuations, the exchange has to worry about its own security issues. In February, the world's first and then largest Bitcoin exchange, Mt. Gox, was hacked. 850,000 Bitcoins were missing or stolen, valued at more than $450 million at the time. It was considered the trigger to the later industry winter. Even that particular winter passed. This exchange industry nightmare has never faded away.
Which area is the weakness?
Bitcoin, the network is safe, but companies like Coinbase, they're a custodial service, right? So they hold Bitcoins for their customers.
Yeah.
So if you kind of break into Coinbase's vault, so to speak, you can steal the Bitcoins. People don't understand is once you have freedom of money, you have control of your own money, then you have to protect it yourselves. One of the best ways to keep coins yourself is to use something like a hardware wallet. It's cold wallet and it keeps it off of your computer.
区块链以及基于区块链上数字资产，比如比特币啊、以太坊啊，都是他们呢这个安全分为几个层次。那么第一个呢是它网络的安全。啊，那么因为你比特币和以太坊的区块链分散在全世界啊，互联网内很多个节点，它的数据的备份可能有几万份、几十万份，那这显然它是一个更安全的网络。那么另外一个安全呢，它可能是在消费者啊，那么消费者的这个你在使用比特币的时候，你如何能够保存好你的密码啊？尤其是现在有很多这样的病毒和木马的情况下，你能不让你的密码被偷盗，那么这是消费者安全。第三个呢是企业级安全。那么作为你服务很多消费者，你可能存储了更多的这个数字资产，你如何保证它的安全？那么所以安全其实有很多人一味的说啊，比特币很安全，它比银行更安全，或者说比特币不安全，你看它出现了某家公司啊 Mt. Gox 被黑了，那么其实都是不对的。
其实我们还是不断听到有交易所被盗，比如说日本的、韩国的今年啊，那你觉得整个行业在这个问题上做的到底好不好？
我觉得是因为我刚刚讲，就是说企业级安全的技术其实还在不断的发展。那么很多新兴的交易所，它可能这个基于没有经验啊，也许是其他原因啊，所以就出现了这些故障，这个也是难以避免的。但我相信随着这个行业的发展，随着这各种安全标准的建立，那么它技术是能够保证数字资产的绝对的安全的。
Before I joined Coinbase, I talked to the founder Brian. And I asked him, like, what's the worst that can happen? And he told me, like, the worst is if the coins got stolen, right? And that's like a company-ending event. And that's kind of something that we focus really hard to prevent. We spend a lot of effort and money on hiring and building out, like, good security practices and a good security team to focus on that.
Did anyone try to hack?
We've had issues with people like trying to attack Coinbase, whether it's like a DDoS attack or like a phishing attack. We've definitely gotten a lot of attacks. I mean, Coinbase was a huge target.
According to statistics, there have been 56 attacks on cryptocurrency exchanges around the world since 2011, bringing the total loss to $1.63 billion. In January 2018, Japan's second largest cryptocurrency exchange, Coincheck, was attacked by hackers. causing the exchange to lose $534 million in digital tokens. It became the biggest theft in cryptocurrency history so far. However, 3 months later, Coincheck's almost bankruptcy fate was changed by a $34 million acquisition deal with Japan's third largest online brokerage, Monex.
We started studying, we actually already 2 or 3 years ago, you say, experimented the technology of blockchain. So we kind of have a familiarity to the blockchain. And also starting about 1.5 years ago, it was October last year, we officially announced we would be in the crypto business.
Why were you interested in hacked exchanges?
Crypto business is really one of the biggest applications of blockchain as of right now. Okay? So it's very important to have a crypto exchange. In a sense, not only as a money-making business, but also to be a part of the blockchain kind of scene. It's very important. The Coincheck got unfortunately hacked, but they have engineers. They have close to 2 million customer base. It's a great property, but they needed some help as regard to enhancing internal controls, enhancing the cyber security and such, which we could help. So we thought it's a good kind of marriage.
And after acquiring Coincheck, what kind of effort did you guys make to make Coincheck come back again and to build the trust with the customers again?
I think, generally speaking, in the cyber area, offense technology has become much stronger or bigger than defense technology, right? So there's a gap between offense and defense. So we have to make sure that we use the best defense technologies and experiences. Offense doesn't come to those best quartile. They tend to go to low end, right? Of course, we have to talk to the global players. We can't realize that just dealing with the Japanese players. So we talk to global players and working hard every day.
Why did you decide to go into crypto space? What kind of opportunity did you see in the space?
It's a center of new technologies. It's quite exciting. I started my career in derivatives in late 1980s. And the situation in crypto today is very similar to derivatives in 1980s. Okay, it's new technology, new thesis, new idea. Only few people understood. Regulators didn't like it. Okay, no way to account. There's not, the accounting method is very immature at that time. And there are, the greedy guys and most, the trader or investor who could take a biggest risk. Smart guys, bad guys, regulators, academias, accountants, everybody came into derivatives at that time. There's a kind of fusion of those resources. And out of that fusion, there are many innovations took place. Okay? It's not only for derivatives product, but also for the simulation technology and the computer science, regulation, accounting, many places innovation happened. And then there were those who were there benefited from those innovations. So I thought we should be there. We should be principally there.
If the first breakout of the Bitcoin price in 2013 gave the general public an opportunity to get to know Bitcoin, it was the sudden increased interest in the technology behind Bitcoin in 2017 that truly brought about an overall rise in the price of cryptocurrencies, thus becoming a new type of financial phenomenon. Former Goldman Sachs partner Michael Novogratz, a veteran of the traditional financial world, was convinced that Wall Street's next hot topic would be cryptocurrency. He made a high-profile comeback in the game and founded a full-service cryptocurrency merchant bank, Galaxy Digital.
Hi, Mike. I'm Bianca. So nice to meet you.
Nice to see you.
Look great.
Thank you. I put a shirt on just for you.
Lovely shirt. You made a lot of money from investing in crypto.
When you buy something at $100 in Bitcoin and it goes to 20,000, you don't have to be that smart to make a lot of money. And so part of it was buying at good levels. I bought Ethereum at $1. I bought Bitcoin at $100. And then it was using the same skills that I had developed over 25 years on Wall Street as a trader to know when things got to crazy prices, I would sell, and when they would sell back off, I would buy.
What's your return like?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
I actually made a lot of money, but in my initial stake was, it's probably 100x.
And during an interview or speech, you mentioned Bitcoin will be the biggest bubble ever. Why did you jump in?
You can make lots of money by riding bubbles, right? If you had thought about being a technology investor in 1994, by late 1999, you'd made a fortune. To understand bubbles happen around things that fundamentally change how we live our lives, right? The internet bubble was all about what the promise of the internet was, and oh my goodness, the internet delivered on that promise, right? Everything about life is different because of the internet. The railroad bubble, the railroads changed the way we lived our lives. And so bubbles happen around stories that are easily told and around technologies that really are, earth-changing. And I think blockchain will be that.
So last year, you decided to put all your crypto investment into Galaxy Digital.
I want to be the space's first really strong and powerful merchant bank. So we have a direct investment business that goes from venture to credit lending. And we're already doing some advisory, and we raise capital for companies. And the final one is asset management. We're going to manage other people's money.
Are you afraid of the traditional big financial institutions to coming into the space?
Listen, what the space needs is institutional participation, and it's coming. There was an article in the paper today that talked about Goldman getting, or at least researching being in custody. I do think we have a couple-year head start before the Jeffries and first, and then the Goldmans and Merrill Lynch's second, come into the space.
From being limited to a group of geeks in the beginning, to attracting talents from many industries, especially finance and technology, the blockchain circle has been evolving all the time. Blockchain, from an ingenious innovation in technology, to a tool of investment and even speculation, and then to application development. What do these blockchain people pursue? Is it wealth, some kind of big breakthrough, or what else?
我们想做一个全世界第一家 IPO 上市的比特币公司。
That's why the risk of putting the exchange in Digital X is something I don't think Digital X shareholders will appreciate is if a hack happens.
在讨论完公司的业务模型之后，我们觉得就挖矿这件事情是最容易获得主流机构认可的。自从有了矿机芯片公司，有了比较大规模的就矿工，就挖矿这件事情就变成了一个商业行为了。
但是应该说，这个挖矿这件事情还是有利润，对吧？有增长。那有没有帮助你做 IPO 这件事儿呢？
监管机构和证交所还是认为这个商业模式风险太高。我印象当中可能数不清了吧，2-3年的时间，想想就不停的交材料再打回来，交材料再打回来，经常有希望，然后又经常极度失望。
为什么这件就是 IPO 这件事情这么 执着？
我觉得当时就是怄了一股气，就想证明，因为有太多人说我们在做，对我骗子是做传销，那我想证明的就是，那我们如果做的这件事情能够被主流监管机构所认可的话，那我们应该可以证明给所有人看，这个行业是一个非常正常的行业。就其实这也是个非常渺小的想法吧。
Hello.
So let's meet Jenny.
Hi Jenny, nice to meet you. Jenny. Alan. Nice to meet you. 你刚才已经听他说你很多故事了。
肯定都是不好的歌手。
你怎么
跟你聊？
聊一下，聊一下。可行啊，这个更有意思，这个。
2013 and also running meetup events since then. And then that's how we met Ryan. Ryan came to our meetup and then...
In which year?
In early 2014.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Ryan jumped on board, says let's do something big. That's how we met each other. Yeah.
The Martian's dream was to be the first listed Bitcoin company. It might seem astonishing a few years ago. Fortunately, he met his partners Sam and Alan in Australia. At that time, these two had already earned a reputation in the Australian blockchain world by doing arbitrage business.
Arbitrage is all about taking market inefficiencies that exist across multiple exchanges and then buying and selling at the same time, low and high. We have been considerably successful when in 2013 making around about 40% return monthly on our investment.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So why do you need someone else to help you?
Ryan said, hey, look, there's a great opportunity. It's called Bitcoin mining. And back then, because there were very few competitors in this space, we did the maths and it turns out to be quite profitable. So that's how us three got into bed together, not literally.
Ryan, Mars, everyone in China knows him, very, very famous. Sam is one of the earliest organizer in Australia.
Wow.
So very influential in Australia.
At the time, I think we are like a strong link together and want to make our business even larger. We thought we can create world's first Bitcoin related company to do a successful ICO. So that's our IPO.
That was the original office. This was where the international BTCC company was.
How big was the team?
It was about over 100 people, just 100, 120 people. And yeah, we're not a bank. We don't have a banking license. But if we want to do it, we probably need to get a banking license. But yet, the banking commission, they won't give us a banking license. So it's this very awkward situation where we're trying to do it the right way. We're asking what the right way is, but they won't teach us how, nor will they authorize us to do it, right?
Whether it is the Martians' IPO dream or BTC China's persistence in applying for a banking license, a large number of blockchain practitioners' efforts were not simply for commercial gain. Many of them were expecting one thing to happen, that is, getting accepted by the mainstream.
Well, I said in the press conference in April that CoinCheck would target to the IPO because in the context of that I thought that CoinCheck or crypto exchanges are going to be put the more like a bank type of regulation. So it's like a bank, bank with a safe, big safe, right? So that it is natural to think that crypto exchanges are going to receive more like a bank type of capital requirement or regulations. And if that is the case, it is better for someone like CoinCheck to have access to public capital market to always be able to strengthen the capital base. So in that context, I said, the CoinCheck would think about doing IPO.
Money laundering, like when you deal with real money, with fiat money, government money, there are a lot of rules. At one point, BTC China had the world's highest trading volume. That was in the end of 2013, you know. And then shortly after Mt. Gox closed down. And plus we realized later on, years later, that turns out trading volumes can be actually fabricated because it's just a company telling what the trading volume is. So there's no hard way to prove it one way or the other. And then there's a lot of market makers. You could trade with yourself, left hand, right hand.
澳洲的金融监管机构不认为数字货币是资产，他们认为这个是不可以放进一个公司的叫财务的报表里面的。但如果不能放进财务报表里面，那我怎么才能说我公司正在每天赚钱呢？而不是天天把机器放在那儿，天天烧着电，然后什么都没发生。就在这一点上，我们和金融监管机构进行了反复的沟通，可能就是很单纯的觉得我们是对的。
I think all regulators, the US regulators, the Korean, the Japanese, Chinese, the crypto market just jumped up on them. They didn't see it coming. They didn't see it coming because regulators don't come from grassroots. They come from institutions. And so they were behind the curve. They were doing what regulators are supposed to be doing, is like, can I understand the space? Can I make sure I'm protecting the investor that comes into it? And I think there was a lot of catch up to do.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
You mean for the regulators?
For the regulators in general. That's why like a lot of them said, stop. Let us catch up and then we'll let you go again. Or they said, slow, you know. And they're getting there now. I think in almost every country we look at, the regulators are running up the learning curve. And I think it's a good thing for the system.
After many twists and turns, Galaxy Digital finally began trading on the Toronto Stock Exchange on August 1st, 2018. Will The Martian and BTC China's stories have a happy ending as well?
Was that easy to get listed in Australia?
Regulators were not ready at the time. We were able to build the relationship necessary to have them understand the ecosystem properly. We have to thank our lawyers and also our supporters in participating in that journey.
What we did is, it wasn't a case, but it was discussions with ASIC to say that bitcoins are a real commodity, that blockchain mining was a real business.
你后来赢了吗？
我们赢了。
你们赢了？
对，最后引导了整个澳大利亚对现有的数字货币的立法和规范，就在整个澳洲形成了数字货币的一个税收法案和它的一个资产认定方案，以及数字货币可以放进上市公司的资产报表里面做审计。
We had to do in order to get them to not hold up our prospectus as part of the IPO, and we eventually achieved that. We were the first to go to ASIC and say, this is what we want to do. So in some respects, we were the trailblazers there.
So that was a very good process to go through, and where it got us to was it resolved 99% of the issues through that dialogue. As it turned out, the stumbling block they had in terms of demonstrating the value of these assets was something that they effectively overcame as effectively 6 months after the incident. With the increase in prices, they overcame that concern.
Did you spend a lot of time with regulators?
We talked to regulators in 2013, you know, in the summer, in the fall of 2013. We spoke with them in 2014, 15, and then much more in 2017. There was a big push for regulation in early 2017. January, we had lots of conversations with regulators, January, February, March. And then at one point we thought we were going to get the license. We really thought we were. We were this close to getting the license for operating a Bitcoin trading platform in China. Very, very close. Yeah. Up through July, August, we thought we were this close to getting an exchange license, a trading platform license. And when we think that, we really had confirmation from the regulators and so on. We thought we were very close. They gave us confirmation.
In 2017, more and more people started to realize the value of Bitcoin. Apart from startups, many large companies also started to explore the possibilities of blockchain applications. Even many governments have started blockchain tests. The mainstream gradually began to embrace this technology behind Bitcoin. However, good times didn't last long. Some governments soon put forward strict regulations to deal with the huge wealth bubble created alongside cryptocurrencies.
It wasn't until September that all of a sudden it's a 180-degree turn.
当然，最后我们还是没有能进行 IPO。
Not only are we not getting a license, we're going to be asked to shut down. It was... I met with them on September 12th. I went in with my colleagues and we met with them. And they said that's the plan. That's when it was a shock. It's like, what? Is this serious? And they say this is serious. This is real. Unless we want to face the consequences, which we didn't want to face any criminal consequences of that. So, by the way, they did bring in the police and the the 公安局 and all that. So they were serious. They were serious that if you don't, do the right thing, it's not about following the rule. If we don't do the right thing. It wasn't a complete surprise because since the very earliest days of 2013, we planned for it. We knew one day we could be kicked out, that we could be shut down.
That was a sad moment not only for BTC China, but also for the whole exchanges industry, right?
Yeah. It was a small setback.
Cheers.
从去年开始吧，我逐渐的修正了自己的想法，因为我觉得如果我们这个行业区块链行业就是为了颠覆现有的整个金融系统的话，那我觉得主流金融机构认不认可我们根本就不重要，就我们自己能够认可自己，那这才是最重要的。就如果证交所不让我们公司的股票来上市的话，那我们会自己创造一个股票交易所，然后帮助那些不能够在股票市场上交易的公司，让他们的价值能够得以流通。所以我觉得就我的思想也经过了一系列的转变。现在我觉得我们的存在就是因为主流金融机构的效率低和傲慢，他们阻碍了这个世界的创新，阻碍了很多的小企业家他们想改变世界的梦想。区块链应该就是帮助每一个有梦想的人完成他们的梦想，通过金融更有效的金融系统。就从此之后我的想法就变了，我觉得上不上市 IPO 成不成功一点都不重要。如果这些银行和交易所不改变的话，如果全球的金融监管系统还是现有的这样的效率低的话，那么如果他们不改变，我们就来主动的改变他们。
去年突然一下叫停，包括交易等等，对你的冲击大吗？
对我们个体来讲啊，就是说企业家啊，你永远是要，我刚才讲，企业家第一社会责任，你要在各国监管遵守各国当地的监管，这就是企业家该做的事情，没有什么好抱怨的。因为我们的国家很年轻，我们很多的新兴领域的法律法治还没有健全，它不像在美国，我们在美国比特币的很多法律在50年前就制定好了，我们只需要去遵守50年前的法律，就可以知道我们应该要拿什么 license， 拿这个 license 需要什么样的条件啊。那么中国非常新，那么在社会出现了这样的这个泡沫跟风险的时候，那么采取这些措施，我认为这些是啊，对行业从长期来看也是更好的。
Hey,
Hello.
hey.
Very nice meeting you. Every day there's about 10 to 20 new exchanges launching.
Wow.
And going live, some of them going live, and has been like that for the last 5 years, I think.
Every day.
Yeah, actually, many people told me, hey, look, CZ, what are you doing, right? This is an old concept. There's like thousands, if not tens of thousands of exchanges around, and some of them are really big. Some of them have very proven business models, etc. So you're not going to be able to compete. Like, why compete in this place? But I told them, look, this is the only thing I know how to do. I know we have a superior product. I know we have a very strong team, even though quite small.
What do you think about these crazy growth?
We did grow very quickly, but the comparison to Deutsche Bank is not really fair to them. Some large companies will have a negative profit quarter, and yeah, I mean, if you compare any company to a negative profit a quarter where some company have a loss, yes, any startup are more profitable than them. But I think, yes, in general, the kind of revenues we're generating and the kind of profits we're generating are probably comparable to companies almost 100 times or 1,000 times our size. So we've grown very, very quickly. I think Binance probably is the first company that grown so quickly internationally from the very beginning. So from the very beginning, because we don't accept fiat, so most people saw that as a limitation. We only accept blockchain deposit and withdrawals, only crypto assets, right?
Is that the first exchange only accept?
No. That's a few other before.
I see.
And they were not small either, but they had a more localized culture. So they only have English interfaces. They only have a web platform. They're based in actually both of them were based in USA. So they were kind of focused on a big USA market. So we want to service everywhere else in the world. And we want to service the languages that people don't, a lot of businesses haven't thought about or don't care about. So we supported like Koreans, Japanese, even Russian, and even like Turkish. So when we first started, I think within a month we had users from 180 countries.
Seizing the opportunity in the international market with a crypto-to-crypto strategy, Binance grew vigorously despite the catastrophe caused by the Chinese ban. It has also brought a new wave of inspiration to the exchange industry. However, ignoring regulatory restrictions does not guarantee its long-lasting vitality. Lacking innovation is one part, but more importantly, the fact that they remain centralized in the wave of decentralization might be the real issue that hobbles the industry's future development.
其实交易所现在大部分还是一个中心化的，它其实不是一个很，就说符合区块链理念的这么一个行业。你怎么看这么一个生态？
首先，人说交易所是中心化的，那很简单，因为这个市场需要快速的交易的机制啊。那么你目前产业界没有发展出更好的技术，这种中心化的这个撮合的交易所是最快的能够让给数字资产定价的系统啊。所以这个系统还是一样，虽然它有问题，但是它是最不坏的、最不邪恶的这个系统。那另外关于这个中心化和去中心化的问题啊，这个目前的这个交易所的系统，大部分它的交易是中心化的，那么它的资产的清算是在区块链上的，比如说比特币和以太坊的清算是在区块链上的啊。那么交易能否做到区块链上？我的观点是未来是可以的，但是呢，它还需要这个技术的不断发展。比如说，即使我相信我们放眼未来的10年和20年，中心化的交易所仍然会存在，因为世界上在很多国家，那么把比特币定义成一种合法的资产，它能够对法币、对美元、对欧元进行对日元、韩元都可以进行合法的交易。日元和韩元目前是非链上的，没有链上的日元跟韩元的，所以数字资产对法币的交易在很长一段时间内仍然会以中心化交易所的形态来存在，啊，那么至于说币交易，那么随着区块链技术越来越强大，可能这种 decentralized 的交易所能够取代很多目前中心化交易所的市场，啊，但是这个市场还会有衍生品，还会有很多的衍生品，可能也还需要以中心化这个交易所的形态存在。
Exchanges provide market liquidity for retail investors. However, the volume of single transactions is still relatively small. For large-scale transactions, asset platforms that provide OTC trading and management services for professional traders have emerged in the market. Many times, the demand for OTC trading has even surpassed that of exchanges. one of the world's leading cryptocurrency startups, Circle, has also launched a global OTC crypto desk, Circle Trade, which now moves over $2 billion each month. Ricky Lee, a senior commodity trading analyst, also took advantage of this opportunity. In May 2018, he founded Autonomy, a platform dedicated to trading and asset management for the crypto secondary market.
The interesting thing about crypto is because crypto can be traded on any number of exchanges, you can think about the OTC desk as sort of like an aggregator, like a Kayak or a Goda type of thing. So institutions that want to have access to liquidity can now go to a one-touch OTC desk who can then fulfill the orders across a number of exchanges and other liquidity sources. And that's why OTC markets in crypto tend to be larger than people expect because of this customers not wanting to have custodian risk, having funds on exchanges. They also don't necessarily want to be on every exchange and having the hassle of doing that integration. It's just a lot more fragmented in this industry.
The OTC market is always at least 5 times or 10 times bigger than the actual market trading on exchanges. In the crypto market, nobody knows for sure how much volume is on the OTC side, but we know for sure how much volume on the exchange side, right? Based on our rough estimates, it's pretty much 10 times.
10 times.
10 times or more bigger than the ones executed on exchanges.
While the crypto secondary market is booming, the market for cryptocurrency derivatives with higher margins is also expanding. The derivatives have already been in compliance with the rules of the market for some time, drawing in more people from the traditional financial industry. According to data released by CME Group in October 2018, despite the current downturn in cryptocurrency spot trading, Bitcoin futures are growing continuously in both CME Group's daily average trading volume and open interest.
If we look at cryptocurrencies, the fundamental market development is to get liquidity and to be able to exchange value and to be able to do commerce, but you need more. So futures contracts and derivatives is a very both highly profitable enterprise within financial services, but it's key to market development. It was that next step in the evolution of cryptocurrency, the crypto economy, everything from supply chain to every business and actually every person has contracts all around them. So it's a very, very broad space.
If you look at what the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and Chicago Board Options Exchange are both doing, is they've created derivatives based on the underlying price of virtual currencies. I think that's a significant step in taking those as a serious asset class. They think there's a real potential market here, and it's a regulated market. They're taking it seriously.
Facing the growing appeal of the market, traditional financial giants JP Morgan Chase, Northern Trust, Goldman Sachs, and several other banks are switching battlefields, setting their sights on developing cryptocurrency hosting services for institutional investors. It has been reported that 2019 is expected to witness a $20 billion institutional funds flow. The Wall Street giants are running into the arena. However, this brand new crypto market still looks a lot like the Wild West.
Crypto is like lacking of infrastructure, lacking of pretty much everything. In terms of secondary market, is either exchanges facilities and the professional trading services, which like what we do, and also the level of sophistication of the traders in the market are pretty much all at a very, very nascent stage compared to the traditional financial market. Institutions, with those guys' size, they will never actually be able to trade themselves or basically go on the market and build the infrastructure to do themselves. They rely on, like stock market and commodities market, right? They rely on professional trading firms to help them out to either enter or exit positions.
How far do you think are we away from these big guys to coming?
We hear some rumors like other banks like Morgan Stanley or Merrill Lynch. Those guys are thinking about it, offering structured product based on the CME futures, right? That's like a baby steps towards trading spot market on the offshore crypto exchanges, right? I would say still a year away, at least a year away, and that's basically our edge. If they're still a year away, then that means we have a year of time to grow, right?
The CFTC, which is the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, which regulates derivatives markets, so swaps and futures and other derivative financial products based on underlying commodities. They came out in, I think, 2015 and classified Bitcoin as a commodity. And then the anti-money laundering regulators, FinCEN, classified Bitcoin as a virtual currency. And then the SEC has thus far said that Bitcoin doesn't seem necessarily like a security, but they could come out and say that it's a security at some point. It can be a property, a commodity, a virtual currency all at the same time without there being conflict.
Besides introducing a new asset class of cryptocurrencies, digitization seems to have brought about new opportunities for the entire traditional financial market as well. A lot of people have started to tokenize existing financial assets, and the STO, or security token offering, is becoming increasingly popular. In August 2018, T0, a blockchain subsidiary of Overstock, one of the top 10 online retailers in the US, announced the successful completion of its preferred security token offering that is fully compliant with US laws and regulations. More than 1,000 investors worldwide piled in, raising $134 million. The industry is waiting to see if the rise of security tokens will instigate the next round of development in the crypto financial market.
Over 4 years ago, we became the first company over $1 million to accept Bitcoin. And we created T0 to be basically the intersection of blockchain and Wall Street. I think we're ahead of everybody in the world on creating a blockchain capital market.
What do you think about the regulation risk?
I actually think it's needed, and it should be regulated. The more the SEC focuses on that stuff, the more people have to do security tokens. Well, what we have been building is security tokens. We did the world's first private blockchain security, a bond. We did the world's first public blockchain security. It's OSTK.P. It's trading today.
I think you're going to see securities tokens starting in the next few months. There's industries that want to tap capital markets in new ways. There are new ideas of what can be securitized. The idea of tokenizing things opened up the imagination. I could see in the biotech space having really cool security tokens. Definitely it's coming to the real estate space.
Bitcoin's been around for what, 9 to 10 years now. In a way, you could say it's stood the test of time. But the core concepts of tokenization and decentralization and everything we're learning from those, I think will continue to define and evolve our services.
John, take it away, and let's keep it again, please. Let's make it interactive. So, tech part team, if there's any questions, don't hesitate to interrupt.
Absolutely. So maybe for the benefit of the cameras, this is the capstone project at Columbia University School of International Public Affairs. We've been tasked to review the blockchain space for Tech Par Group, and that's what we've been doing for the past semester. So we already gave it brief introduction.
Lumber Capital is where I've been for the last 20 years. So this is my second year that I've been teaching at Columbia University. This semester teaching a class which we just finished this morning on blockchain and cryptocurrency.
So is this the very first blockchain course in Columbia?
I don't know actually if it's the first course. I will say that the administration was very enthusiastic when we discussed and then they approached me to teach a course on blockchain. So there's tremendous demand from what I'm hearing across the university, and I think that's true on a much larger scale, not just Columbia University. And in fact, I know a few of the capstones that started out not discussing or related to blockchain evolved and they pivoted into something blockchain related. It's clear to me that blockchain is real, meaningful, and going to have impact for decades across a variety of verticals. And so for the students that are going out into the world, they have to pay attention to this. And so they really have an edge. They're really talented, young, bright, students. And they're thinking, where do they want to go with their careers over the next 20, 30 years?
According to U.S. hiring site Glassdoor's research, in 2018, the demand for blockchain-related jobs increased by 300% as compared to the previous year. New York City, San Francisco, and San Jose accounted for the most number of openings in the technology. Statistics from Upwork shows that demand for freelancers with a blockchain asset grew by 3,500% this year as compared to last year.
I studied engineering as an undergraduate, and then I worked in financial technology for many years in Mexico City, actually.
What attracted you to take that course?
Well, I was working in the space, so it was obviously a good fit. I learned a lot over the semester, so we did a lot of research on all the various projects that are trying to look at applications of these technologies. Obviously, there's a wide array of them, but there's also a lot of challenges still. So, we'll see where this all goes. It's all very auspicious, but it's still uncertain.
So what's the true significance of blockchain, in your opinion?
I study here at the School of International and Public Affairs, which I think is actually more fitting for this space because it really is more a question of governance and society. How does a group of strangers cooperate really is kind of a fundamental question that a society has to grapple with. So I'm glad the education I got here at the School of International Affairs has helped me to kind of understand some of these complex and multifaceted issues.
Talking from an educational point of view, so what kind of talents do we need for blockchain?
So I think having the combination of a technology background and understanding is fantastic. Combining that maybe with business acumen and understanding to where there's a business opportunity, what is the business model, how can we monetize this application, that combination is fantastic.
大部分其实在blockchain 的这些投资啊什么，其实跟澳大利亚关系很大。那时候怎么会想到说是要到澳大利亚来做这样的发展？
因为在2011年的时候，我爱人来澳大利亚墨尔本这边来读书，所以说，因为经常夫妻两地分居，然后我觉得就大家都觉得好像不太现实，于是应这个就我家领导的强烈要求，于是我就过来陪读。也因为这个契机吧，所以有很多的这个闲暇的时间，然后我又自己喜欢爱折腾一些这个新鲜的事物，然后在网上又看到比特币，就觉得哇，这个非常的神奇。比如在最早期的时候，我觉得可能我自己写文章，然后给大家加油打气，就这是做传媒工作，我觉得这是当时大家最需要的。好，到了下一个阶段，我觉得可能有点像投笔从戎，我觉得说再多没有用。这个行业需要更多干实事的人，那我们来办企业。结果办企业的时候发现，那最大的问题在于政府的不认可。那再到一个阶段的时候，我觉得那已经叫现实的这个框架已经够好的，但现在缺的是更多的人来加入和参与。那通过什么样方式来让他们参与呢？那我们自己来做投资。就于是在这个过程当中，我们投了100-200家。区块链和数字货币相关的企业，
就16年到现在投了100-200家。
对，
你是怎么挑选项目？那就平均下来就6天一个项目。
基本上是来者不拒吧。我觉得可能当时的想法也比较单纯，我觉得只要能更多的人参与到这个行业里面来，那怎么都是好事儿。
We invest in companies that help incubate projects, such as DigitalX, the world's first listed company.
And also acquiring other listed entities and to work with the government closely and to help go through those listed entities to help other companies to do ICO and to do things in a more legitimate way.
The blockchain industry has only completed its first 10 years. For an industry, 10 years is not a long time. But up to now, these blockchain people seem to have experienced the ups and downs that other industry practitioners may experience throughout their entire career. They've lived through every kind of high and low and all kinds of splendors and hardships. No matter whether they are riding the whirlwind, controlling wealth, departing quietly, or losing all their reputations, no one seems to remain in any one area for too long. In the future, Their fate and the prospects of the blockchain industry are still unknown.
I felt it was the right decision at the time.
Yeah.
I still think it was the right decision. I think in hindsight, if I knew that was like the high price, I might not have sold, which is ironic because I know that because that was a high price, I would get a lot of hate for it, because people would feel like I sold out at the high price. So I was hoping the price would just keep going up so that at least people wouldn't like think too much about me selling.
Do you have any moment like you feel a little kind of regret of doing that?
So it actually felt good after I sold it because it was kind of weighing on me at the time. I felt like I didn't really need to hold Litecoin for me to be still passionate about making Litecoin successful. Because I created Litecoin, it's kind of like my legacy. So money wasn't really a driving factor for me. So I decided to kind of remove myself from investment in Litecoin. I still use it. I still have a little bit where I use it for payments, but I'm not invested in the price of Litecoin.
So to
Either
speak.
Shanghai your home.
Yeah, Shanghai's my
Yeah.
home now.
巨大的算力的那个矿场在建立当中，
啊
估计就很多订单跑过来。
现在 Blockchain Global 很多业务都是顺着下面的上市公司去做的，
是啊
发 ICO 就是通过 DCC 来做的。
哦，
这个行业的话，从过去到现在，每一波牛市和熊市的时候，我觉得都能淘汰掉当时90%的参与者。
大陆应该是一种需要，或者说整个这个行业，我相信他们每一家企业都应该是一种懂得如何去冬眠的动物。我始终是还是给自己，退休的这种可能性，或者说一个梦想。但是呢，坦率来讲，可能始终都还是会被这种工作和创造的激情去牵引。
This is a new field. We're making a big bet that in the future, we're going to make a fortune.
Sometimes the negative things turn out to be positive things. We always want to disrupt ourselves, and we always embrace new technology innovation.
其实我是比特币的始终，还是比较坚定的看好这个行业的发展，所以在这个行业的话呢，其实继续积累，一定会有这个发展的这个重新起来的时机。
I'm very, very happy that we were the world's longest running Bitcoin exchange, running for I think over 6 years, 6.5 years almost.
In the next few years, we're going to see a lot of the applications that already exist really start to kind of become more mature and scale up, and some of them grow to start reaching large numbers of users.
I think that being able to engage the larger kind of cryptographic and crypto communities will be really helpful to us in the future. And the idea of creating these public goods that can both create business but also serve humanity is a relatively new idea, maybe in the last 50 years.
Well, the future is not something to be predicted, it's something to be achieved.
在这个行业里面还持续的，不管是投资也好，创业也好，我觉得都是真正的信仰者。这个行业就是因为它的不确定性，然后让我们这样热爱冒险、热爱尝试的人，才有了更多的发挥的空间。
我们一定要看到未来是什么。我觉得我们看到了，希望我看的是对的。
就有时候我觉得自己像个 billionaire， 有时候像个 millionaire， 这就是分分钟在波动，币圈一天，人间10年。
I should not be looking at you. I should be looking there. Okay.
Camera rolling.
Next.
Nice to meet.
可以了。She wants to say hi.
Hi.
Next.
Next.
Okay.
Next.
Okay, 好。